Okay, hey, hi, I'm back. It's me, Dixie Amber, and I just would like to say, I'm not a crying mess right now, so that's good. I am still bothered by my hair, but this is not about my hair, okay? Maybe someday I'll be able to meet Guy Tang, and he can do my hair, but... So, I just wanted to get on here and just kind of do an intro for anybody who hasn't seen my emotional series. I think I just want to explain real quick because it's messy. You know, it's messy. There have been like psychological hurdles that I've been going through. Mostly because, let's see, how do I say it? I've lived a life, you know, of sin. I changed, my heart changed when I was in jail in 2009. And the person who I was before that, completely different. I was bombarded by chaos and addiction, criminality, the dark side of things. And so as I went through life, I encountered a lot of people, and we were not at our best. So, you know, being a person who I know I put myself in situations that are not good. I know that I responded and reacted to things in ways that were not good. I broke the law. I broke the morals and values that I have today. I made decisions that the person who I am today, I cannot imagine making those same choices. But it happened. Like, those are my memories. Those, I can't change them. So the only thing I can do is change my perception. And that means changing the way I look at it. I get to choose how I look at it. Now, I can look at it through guilt and shame and play along with the usual psychological programming that we have. And I could say, oh, woe is me. I'm a POS. I'm never going to change. This is the way I am, and just stay in that state. Or I could choose to look at my behaviors, my actions, and choose and decide. Really think about it. You know, how are these behaviors making me feel? What kind of life am I living because of those choices? What can I do that will change the way I encounter the world, change the way that change the people, places, and things that I'm encountering? What can I do to be a better person? And, you know, my addiction was a good solid 7 years. And, you know, 7 years of homelessness and, you know, drug addiction, you know, that's a lot of chaos. And that's a lot of me being the victim and me being the perpetrator. Like, I would be lying if I said that I didn't choose to flip the tables, to flip the script. I did it. And on one hand, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I did it, you know, like, that's what they get. But then on the other hand, there's a part of me that's like, why did I have to go through that? Why do I have to have those choices on my conscience? Why do I have to have these shameful things in my past? Why do I have to show my face in this world and I'd be expected to function how everybody else does. And, you know, like I came to that crossroads when I went to jail. I was pregnant. I hated myself. And yet I knew I needed to make a change. And so, you know, I removed myself. God removed me, actually. God removed me from the area where I had been, where I grew up, and my addiction, and plucked me out and stuck me over in another area. And, you know, I rolled with the punches, and I went to treatment, and I went to a sober living, and I got into an apartment and did like a year of like this recovery, you know, like I had to do meetings and they paid for my rent, and I just had to like work on fixing myself. And then as I move forward, like what happens is you meet people who are ahead of you and they pour love into you. And so when you become the person who's ahead of somebody else, you pour love into them. And so it's like this cycle. And I somehow lucked out and found myself in the middle of a really good era of recovery out here where I'm at. And so, you know, like since then, it's been 16 years. And so, you know, 17 years compared to 16 years, like I'm past double. You know, I remember when I finally got to that, you know, like 7-year mark, and I was like, wow, like I've made it the same amount of time in recovery as I did using intravenous drugs. Like that's amazing. And then I remember getting to the, you know, the double, the 14, and just being like, what? Dude, I never would have guessed, ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. But I made it. Like, I mean, that's just proof that, like, honesty, like, real ugly honesty. It, number one, shames the devil. Guess what, devil? Ha! I already done told on myself. You think that you're going to hang this over my head for the rest of my life and try to get me to, like, play this freaking game of, like, I don't want anybody to know, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. Oh, no. Nope, not me. Not me, Satan, not today. So I went through my life sharing all my secrets. And I think maybe part of this, like, gang stalking thing that I've gone through, it sounds weird. It's the definition. So, but, you know, maybe some of it comes from me being honest and sharing things with people who are mentally ill, you know? Maybe people, you know, like, who knows? I don't know. But also maybe, you know, maybe there are people who caught wind of my honesty and panicked. I think that maybe there might be people who panicked and thought, oh shit, she's gonna tell my secrets. And I wonder if those people decided to play that game of doing whatever it takes to keep those secrets secret. And so I've gone several years of seeing signs and, you know, like having pretty good idea of, you know, the water running downhill. Like, you can see the groove that the water has run downhill. You know, after a while, that water erosion, yeah, that's kind of what happens with people and their behavior, their words, you know, the erosion starts. And so for me, you know, it's taken a long time. It's a lot of patience and kindness and compassion and faith, you know, and just consistently reminding myself that I don't want to play that game. That is not, I did not come this far to fall back into that trap. And so it's been really difficult over this last few weeks of like really coming to terms with things, with possibilities. I still don't know things for sure. I don't. But the weight of the possibilities outweigh the likelihood that that's not involved. I don't know how to describe it, but so I've gotten to a point, you know, like that's where I got to a point where I was like, I just have to start pouring it out. I just have to let it come out in its raw, ugly form that sometimes I feel like kind of jumps around. Like it's kind of hard for me to think of everything like in a straight linear fashion, because I'll be like talking about something and I'll remember how it comes into play later, and then it's really hard for me not want to jump ahead. And then once I'm jumped ahead, then I'm like remembering something else that happened around there, and I kind of lose track. And you know, that's that is normal. Maybe it's my age, maybe it's all of the trauma, you know, like actual physical trauma and also psychological trauma by myself, by refusing to see things and continuing to rather be in denial. And so because I don't want to play the game, I have to be really careful about my words, and being really careful about my words puts me in a predicament where people are gonna see that as manipulation, because it is. Like, I am manipulating my words, and I'm hopefully manipulating the concept that, or not manipulating, but manipulating the reality to allow a concept that you've been programmed to deny. I'm wanting to manipulate reality so that you will allow yourself to maybe see that. Because, number one, yes, I would really love to have closure, but I get it. That might not happen. It might not happen for another 20 years. Number two, I would really like for other people to avoid these pitfalls, because it's not fun. It's maddening. Like, I'm probably crazier. I might be more sane though. I don't know. But so I'm wanting to share this intro that says I was a mess. I might still have a few messy ones, and right now I'm okay. I'm not thinking about specific messy incidents. I'm really trying to explain in a way that allows you to see me in you know, more balanced state that's not so emotional. It's, you know, I'm opening a door to my soul, and I'm trying to unpack things without taking other things out, and it's difficult. It's really hard. And there's a part of me that wants to say, well, if you were being honest, then you wouldn't worry about it. But I also know that not everybody is in the same spot. Not everybody is able to like see all of the benefits from telling like the ugly truth. Not everyone has been there. They have not experienced the magic that happens. The relief. There is a relief that happens. There is like a piece, a token of integrity that gets put in a bank. Like every time you start letting go of that stuff, the integrity starts stacking. And so then after that, my sister, the same one that always, it's so sweet. It's like she's like psychic, and she's like, oh, you must be going through something. Like, I can feel my sister's energy. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But what was I saying? Oh, the tokens of integrity. Like, we're in the middle of a belief system where you are expected to hold the weight of any secrets that you might have caught wind of. You're expected to hold those. Hold the weight of them. And do not buckle. Do not say anything about anybody, because it will come back to hurt you. That's like the programming we have. And so we are going through life with our own secrets and also other people's secrets. And so I have gone 16 years of releasing my secrets into the wild. Releasing them. Caw-caw, caw-caw, letting them go. Fly away, go find sad souls in the world and bring them to me so that I can give them love and, like, share with them how I got through that, how I found forgiveness and found a way to continue through life in a way that's hopefully not hurting people. And so, but because we live in this world where we are bombarded with other people's secrets and all of these stories about snitches get stitches and, like all of the generational leave the past in the past bullshit, we really don't want to go there. Even though I've spent 16 years of my life divulging my secrets, there is a part of me that really doesn't want to go anywhere near other people's secrets. When I'm at home and I'm processing things, I go there. But when it comes to, I don't ever want to put other people in a position where I have felt myself. I have felt myself in a position where it feels like people are talking and thinking and, like there's something. And because our unconscious thoughts come out in our speech, and, some people might be naturally more adept at, deciphering things, but then you take my lovely hobby of, dissecting YouTube and all of the things I've learned that solidify and validate my understanding of linguistics, the language, the way we talk, the way we leave things out, the way we add things, the way we emphasize certain words and stuff, like I've gotten a lot of freaking learning of that and body language and, like how all of it ties into, and once you get all of those pieces, it's like the world becomes a sudoku puzzle. And once you have enough squares filled in, it's not hard to figure out the rest. And it takes time, just like with sudoku, which is the game, it's a grid. There are 9 big boxes, and inside each one of those 9 boxes, there are 9 more boxes. And so what you're trying to do is, it's a numbers game. Each row is going to have 1 through 9. And then each box is going to have 1 through 9. So you can't have the number 1 twice in the same small, box, squares. But you also can't have 1 twice in the same row. And so when you play this game, it'll start out with some numbers placed. And easy ones have a lot of numbers placed. And so it's, easier to figure out which numbers go where. And the difficulty level rises as you get less numbers to begin with. And I have spent months on difficult sudoku puzzles and had to start all over again, because you think that you have a path that really makes sense, and then all of a sudden you get at the end and you've got 2 freaking 1s in the same freaking square, the same freaking row, and you're like, how is that? You go back and you got a pencil and okay, well, maybe it was this number, or this number, this number. You start going over all of it with all of these other, and you get like a mess, and you're like, okay, I gotta wipe the board. I gotta start over again, you know? But like, once you get to where you've solved it, you're like, oh, how did I do that? I don't know, but I did it. I can do it, you know? And you might erase the board and start all over again, and kind of forget maybe exactly, you know? And that's life. We are given bits and pieces of information. Our parents only have so much to give us. We go out in the world and we start filling in blanks, you know, and we're doing the best we can, okay? And maybe nobody's even told us, excuse me, you're not supposed to have the same number in the same row, you know, and it takes forever to even figure that out. Like, there's so many different kinds of variables that can happen in the potpourri of life, the potpourri of humans. If you don't know what potpourri is, it's potpourri, okay? And that's where they get poopery, the spray. I'm off track. But so the Sudoku puzzle of my life has been a very difficult level. It was, you know, I've experienced life at an intermediate, you know, level of, you know, I got a lot of skeletons in my closet, and I got a lot of, you know, there's probably a lot of people who know stuff, and, you know, you figure out who knows what, and you figure out what their opinion is about it, but they don't say anything because they're pussies. I said it. And so I am the asshole who will say something. Guess what? I'm actually going to be really freaking kind about it. I'm going to tell you because I would want to know. Please fucking tell me. Like, why won't, you know, like, I know why, but doesn't mean that the Sudoku puzzle isn't real, doesn't mean that it's not there. Like, I've experienced life where I'm like, I know we're playing Sudoku, you guys. Like, I know we're playing Sudoku. I see you guys, I see all your marks. I see you writing the ones and the twos and the, you know, but you're like trying to tell me, no, this isn't Sudoku? Like, you're trying to tell me it's tic-tac-toe? That's not tic-tac-toe. This is Sudoku. I see you guys. Oh, no, nothing to see here. Nope. These are just X's and O's. These aren't numbers. That's like what life feels like sometimes. And you're like, stop it. Not everybody does that, though. It's just some people. So, all of my raw emotions are the mess of jotting the ones and the twos. Like in this, like in the beginning when I'm doing Sudoku, I might start out with like in this row, like all the numbers that it could be. Like it's not going to be a 1 because there's a 1 in this row. So, you know, like there's not a 1 in that box. It's hard to describe if you've never played Sudoku. You should play it. It's actually a really good brain exercise, and it's how I've rewired my brain after trauma. Like I, you know, start out with like beginner levels and still struggle. Like, I'm not gonna lie. You know, but knowing that, because I've experienced it, you know, from when you're a kid. And so, like, I know I'll get there. And so that's what all of this mess, the crying and the stuff, like, I gotta get it out. Because there's a part of me that's like, I feel like I am going to get to a place where I'm doing good and the rug's going to get pulled out from under me. And I really want to get ahead of it because I want to try to do as much good as I can before anything like that happens. And I'm not going to pretend like it's not going to happen. I'm going to manifest it's not going to happen. These are other human beings that I am, you know, like up against. I don't really feel like I'm up against anybody, but like in a sense, like the truth is, you know, like against lies, and lies are against the truth. So I'm up against lies and misrepresentations and, you know, dramatizations and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just, after I get it all out, like, just with any kind of talking it out, like with talk therapy, journaling and stuff, it's like, sometimes just getting it out is part of the process of elimination. And so I think it's important to, like, share. I fully see every human being as a child of God. I fully see people who are up as children. They're children, like, they would be really mad if they're watching and, like, I'm not a child, but like, not in a mean way, but like in a loving way. Like, I mean, when you see a kid that's making a mistake, like, hopefully you'll help by explaining things in a way that will allow them to absorb it, and so that's what I want to do. Like, I want to get the mess out while trying to use all my tools and remember that feelings aren't facts, and that all of the jotting down and the pencil marks on my sudoku are not the facts. They're the feelings. And if I'm going to be processing for a platform because I want to live on that platform, it's like getting into a relationship with a new partner. Like, I am going to tell them I have things in my past that can be greatly interpreted, could be interpreted as greatly malicious or maybe even evil. And I don't see myself as that. I know I'm not that. I go through life looking to not be that, while and trying to find balance, because, like, if I've learned leaning too hard and, like, not wanting to be evil ends up fucking being evil. It's crazy. So I have to, that's where, like, the idea, I think that's the hyperbolic, like not wanting to nail it down. Like, I don't want to nail it down because there is a possibility that I might not be interpreting it right. Maybe there are pieces I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe a false, like a lie has been planted in my head. Like, I don't want to go through this processing by, like, trying to misrepresent things as facts when I don't know for sure. I mean, like, if I know something for a fact, I'll share that. But even then, I still have a hard time because of my experience with being medicated, like, so it's tricky. And I just want to share the pieces of my life that are a mess, because I know I'm not the only one, and misery loves company, and if misery loves company, then maybe instead of finding people who are not miserable to join you, maybe you should just look for the other people that are miserable. That's what I do. I'm not trying to get anybody who's not miserable to join me. This is not a fun place to be. But I can find other miserable people. It's not hard. And when I find other miserable people and I share my sins and my truth, I see something shift in them that it's not saying, oh, that's a good idea. No, that is not what I see. What I see is a human being open their minds to, why is this person trusting me with this information right now, is the first thing. Why are you telling me this? But as I speak and I share, not just the mess, but how I interpreted it and how I saw it affect other people. Because here's the thing, sometimes when I would meet with a patient who they were struggling with something, I would definitely, nothing's like blanket. Like, you can't just say this is going to work for everybody. I would feel it, but if it felt appropriate, like this person it would probably help to see a different side of things. That's not saying things are okay. No. It's saying maybe there's another aspect that might help explain things and just kind of tilt things a little bit so you see things a little different. And that means I would share something about myself that's ugly and embarrassing and appropriate, like as far as subject matter. And there were a few times when I saw it in their eyes where I did experience somebody think you're one of them. And it was probably me not really seeing a piece, but hopefully, maybe I planted a seed and somebody else along the way would validate something and they would have an aha moment, and so for me, taking those risks were very important. They're beneficial. They're over and over again, I saw far more positive outcomes than negative. So I'm going to take that risk because I see our community, our society as being in pain. And the fact that it's not hard to find miserable people to join in my little, hey, we have something in common, it goes to show, So I share things that not everybody shares, but it's because I've learned that it's not as bad as we've been taught. So if you're new here and you read, if you see me, because I write things too, but if you see me sharing something and your first response is what the, like that, just give me a moment, okay? Please know that I am not trying to normalize or minimize anything to you or anybody else. Maybe normalizing in a sense of this should not be normal, I normalize it in a way that says, this has become normalized, but this is why it shouldn't be. And these are things that we can do to change it. And I'm not trying to come in and be like, oh, here are the things that I've done wrong. Okay, bye. No, it's more than that. I go in and I'd say, I actually do have an idea of what you're going through. And if it's okay, let me tell you something that's, I don't like to share, but I know that's important to share. I don't want to cry. I told you I'm not going to cry. So, going into someone and bearing your soul to someone who is in one of the darkest places, I'm not going to cry, is a show of faith that they usually have not been given. And it's really sad. And that's why I choose to keep going and keep going. And I do have times when I have to bow out, and I revert back to an ooey gooey mess of I hate myself. And maybe it would be weird if I didn't. I don't know. Or maybe if you're somebody who doesn't go through those periods, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. Maybe I can learn from you. I am not trying to say I'm the end all be all. This is the way you do it. I am saying, hey, look at a way I found out. And, let's draw this part of the map. Let's draw the streets that I've gone down. I'll show you which ones are the dead ends. And I'll show you which ones got to where I was trying to go. And you're probably going to know some other routes, and You know, and maybe enough of us will find that there's a dead end, that it needs to be a throughway. We need to clear this path, because cars need to be able to be, you know, driving down that road. I mean, metaphorically, that's where I see we're at. And so, you know, I'm so grateful for the channels that have filled me with hope, and with the channels that continue to fill me with hope. I am grateful for the channels who, excuse me, might be a little more dark than they realize. But you know what? Like, I'm using my discernment, and I'm able to see the words through the message, or the message through the words. You know, like, I'm able to see pieces of humanity maybe that I forgot, or that I'm in denial about. And finding acceptance for things that are uncomfortable is an never-ending process. Like, it's never gonna end. There's never gonna be a day where I'm like, oh, I am super comfy. There's nothing in this world. No, there's lots in this world that's uncomfortable. And I've learned that something that I could be comfortable with today, like, could be an ugly, disgusting piece that I've found acceptance for, and found a level of comfort in that reality. You know, can't go back. And the comfort's gonna come from, where can I pull the freaking lesson from? How do I find the lesson? What is there a silver lining? Like, what is it? Where a silver lining's gonna be in the mess, the good thing that comes out of it, you know? Like, for me, through this 5-year mess, the silver lining is that I've continued to get closer to God, and God continues to show up in miraculous ways that prove to me that I'm on the right track, and that, you know, this too shall pass. We're going to get through it, and I'm doing the right thing. And so, I'm afraid that as I move forward, that my human nature, it might pop up. It might pop up every now and then. And it's possible, okay, I would be lying if I said it wasn't possible. It's possible that secret might come out my mouth. It's possible. I would say, you know, for your own benefit of your own life and your own spirit, get it out. Just get it out before I do. I mean, that's the thing I'm worried about, is like, somebody's gonna be like, oh, it's a threat. No, I really do not want to go through life threatening anybody. Like, we need to be able to discern the difference between a threat and a warning. Like, a warning is not a threat. You know, like, I went through my last 16 years sharing the dark things, thinking that not only will I be sharing that we can change, but people will see me for me. I'm very nice, and I'm very kind, and I'm very sweet, and I, you know, like, God will put the blinders on me sometimes, and I seem very dumb and naive, but I'm really not. And I'm savage. Like, I'm freaking savage, and I'm unstoppable. I'm determined. I'm privileged. I'm blessed. I'm baffled. And I'm just doing the best I can, and trying to open people's eyes along the way, not because I want them to see anybody's shadows. I just want them to see their own. I get it. X-ray vision, like, you see through everything. And so that's where I'm saying, like, it's better to just get it off your chest, because then you don't have to worry about it. Now, that's the part that kind of pisses me off, is that I spent that much time telling on myself, thinking like nobody can hold anything over me. But I kind of wonder if I shot myself in the foot because somebody was like, oh really? Oh well, bitch, I will make something up. Like, I don't know. So I don't know. But like, I get it. Even the things that I have admitted to, if people are told them without my explanations of learning lessons and moral values and the reasons why God says to not do this and not do that, you know, like, let me tell you, I will tell you why, you know, like, that's why God sends people into our lives to speak truth, you know, like, it's our responsibility to listen, and God will keep telling us. And that's the thing, is like, I have spent a couple years in denial. I've spent a couple years seeing the same signs over and over again. And it wasn't until I decided, okay, I guess I'll bite, and I'll research. I'll look up the name of the patient at the hospital who passed away. Because all of the signs are saying that I'm supposed to, like, do the right thing, and that it's leading me to think of her. So I need to set aside this, like, I'm gonna follow the rules, and, like, just look it up and, you know, just come to accept that all of those rules are not for the best. And maybe I should let go of that belief system, certification system. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just talking about me personally. That's where I'm at. Hopefully I can get to a place where some of my experiences can help anybody, you know, people who are coming up along behind me, and help them find solutions to things so we're not throwing babies out with bathwaters. And real quick before I end, I will explain this to you, because this is a common analogy. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you're like, okay, what does that mean? Who's going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? The baby is really big, okay? Like, just take the baby out first, okay? I get it, okay? I've spent way too much time thinking about these things. But what it means is, so, like, for instance, I mentioned a credentialing. So, like, part of my situation, I believe, has to do with the credentialing system out here for peer-delivered services. And the credentialing rules are adapted from clinical rules for, like, the drug and alcohol counselors and stuff. And so the baby is the fact that peer-delivered services change lives. That's the baby. The baby is, look at the lives that are being changed. Who would have thought? You know, like, who would have thought? And so the bathwater is the dumb rules that come with it. The dumb rules that are just totally anti-helping, you know? Like, don't be friends on social media with somebody that you're helping. But that causes a huge problem. And it caused a huge problem in my professional career that I believe was used against me. And that's, like, one of those things that, like, I have a chip on my shoulder about it, you know? And so if we are looking at the people behind the credentialing and their transgressions while holding power that could greatly change the way things operate. If I look at things through that lens, I could be really angry and say, fuck all of it, you know, trash all of it. If I was looking through the lens of like the typical, you know, typical programming that we have, you know, the common thought process. But I don't think that's actually beneficial. Like, there's a lot of benefit, and the problems are just really to do with individuals and possibly, you know, linking individuals, but like the baby is the helping, and the fucking bullshit is all of the backstabbing and you know, like covering for people, and just all of the things that we think that politicians do. It's like they were like, oh, okay, that's what we get to do. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. That's the energy I'm reading. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't want all the credentialing to go away. I don't want all of the peer support to go away. I don't want all of that to go away. And so that's why I've kept my mouth shut for a really long time, because I'm like, if I start digging and start, you know, like, it's going to stir the pot. And then I'm going to have to keep the momentum if I don't want to end up being the bad guy and end up putting myself in a position where they're going to be like, oh, look it, you know, because I got tons of dirt, each and every one of us. And so I don't want to go into things going like every single one of, you know, the peer delivered service people are monsters. Like, they're not. Like, it's the whole point. Is, you know, like, people have been in dark places, and so they know how to maneuver in those dark places. They can go find the people who are left in the dark places and go get them and bring them out. Well, the problem is sometimes when people go into the dark places to go get, they just don't come back out, metaphorically, you know. And so I think we definitely need to come up with the checks and balances that's like not, or I should say, that's not unlike the system we're supposed to have in our government, you know, like yes, this is the professional side of the certification. We need the community side of the checks and balances, you know, and so, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, through all of my sharing, because I want to educate people who are in the field of peer delivered services, and I want to educate people who are in, you know, clinical settings and hospital settings. And my goal is to get to that point where I'm uncovering those things. But in order for me to get there, I feel like this weight of all of these secrets are holding me down. I want to get my secrets out so that if anybody comes along and they say, I know this bitch. Oh, I know about her. Let me tell you. Y'all gonna be like, oh, I already know. And it's not, look, she's not telling us in a way that's like, oh, you know, like, I would hope. It's not like, oh, poor me. Like, yes, fucked up shit has happened to all of us. And yes, I am going to bring it up because that has a piece in it. But I do not do it because I think that you need to feel sorry for me. I will tell you about the fucked up shit I did because I gotta own it. I did it. I fell into it. I did it. Okay? So, yeah. So that's the point. That's why I wanted to start this channel to begin with. And I kept running into the same hurdles, the same sins that I was like, I know that these people out here are stacking them up. And the fact that there are these memories that I have that highly suggest some really, like, hot topics, you know. And I will say, like, is this part of a, you know, a dark plot to utilize my passion against me and you? Like, I really want to stay aware of that. So it comes with a lot of words. So, I mean, I guess it's part of the point, right? Because it's going to take a certain kind of heart to do this. And it's going to be the heart that can get through all these words, you know, and see the value in the overall message and not get caught up in maybe me divulging something that, you know, goes against morals and values. You know, we got to get over it. We got to talk about it. You know, we're not people who go to school and learn about ancient cultures that had, you know, ugly sides and beautiful sides. Like they just go into it as matter of fact. They don't get all muddled up in the emotions, and, you know, so we've got to. I just said a word that I've seen on other channels, and I kind of have this theory that, like, maybe there's like some weird like point system, and like if somebody's watching a channel and they want for them to be following a certain path, if other channels that have contributed by like these keywords would like get bonus points. It's abstract. It's an abstract thought, okay? I get to have those. I choose. I reserve the right to have abstract thoughts and, you know, and be able to play with them and put them away. Okay? Love you. Bye.